What's wrong?
I have a task to do.
What task?
It's a constitutional law task, and I have to define and understand what is the system of government in Indonesia and how it works.
Really? I have the same task also.
Wow, really? I think we should work together, yeah, to make it easier.
Sure, that's a good idea. Why not?
Yeah. Wait, Kiko, I found this meme appeared a lot of time when I searched about a system of government in Indonesia. Professor Soemantri. I think I remember that time when we had the class and the professor told us about how great is him.
Well, let's learn about him.
Yeah. Have you ever wondered who is Prof. Soemantri and how he has influenced the governmental of Indonesia? Now we're going to discuss about it. But before, my name is Dita Prasalia, NPM 002.
My name is Dasha Kaya, NPM 004.
My name is Ardi Pastema Putra, NPM 021.
My name is Kiko Wiyomaniswaria, NPM 012.
My name is Jovita and my NPM is 008.
We are from Group 4 and we're going to discuss about system of governmental according to Prof. Soemantri. Check this out! We're discussing about Prof. Soemantri, but first we have to know who is Prof. Soemantri. Professor Dr. HRT Sri Soemantri, SH, was one of the most important figures in development of constitutional law in Indonesia. He was actually one of the great teachers of HTN in Universitas Padjadjaran too. He was also known as academic, a professor, and a constitutional thinker who had a significant influence on the study of Indonesian constitutional law.
Known as Professor of Constitutional Law at the Faculty of Law Unpad, Professor Sri Soemantri's dedication made him one of the most important reference in the study of the Indonesia Constitution. He was also directly involved in Indonesia constitutional development. He was once a member of the Consultant Assembly. One of his important work is the procedure and system of constitutional amendment. This work discussed the amendment of the Constitution, especially how Constitution can be amended in a lawful, orderly, and constitutionally appropriate manner. This is the reason why name Prof. Sri Soemantri continues to appear in many constitutional law literatures. Not only that, but in law in general.
To understand constitutional law, we first need to understand the system of government. A system of government refers to the way the state organizes and exercises political power through its institution. It explains how authority is distributed, how decisions are made, and how the state functions in maintaining order, justice, and democracy.
In general, the system of government functions to regulate the relationship between institutions, prevent the abuse of power, and ensure that the government works according to the constitution. Through this system, each institution has its own duties and responsibility in managing the country. One important part of the system of government is the relationship between the executive and legislative branches. The executive branch is responsible for implementing law and managing the administration of the state. In Indonesia, the executive power is held by the president. Meanwhile, the legislative branch has the authority to make laws, approve budget, and supervise the government. This role is carried out mainly by the DPR. In a democratic system, power cannot be concentrated in only one institution. Therefore, power is divided among different branches of government. This division of power aims to prevent authoritarianism and ensure that each institution works within constitutional limits. This concept is known as checks and balances. Through checks and balances, each branch of government has the authority to supervise and limit the power of the others. For example, the legislative branch can supervise government policies, while the judiciary can review whether laws and government action are consistent with the constitution. Indonesia adopts a presidential system of government. In this system, the president acts as both the head of state and the head of government. The president is elected directly by the people and serves for a fixed term according to the constitution.
So, the year 1998 became a major turning point in Indonesia's constitutional system. After the fall of the new order regime, the means emerged to reform the system of government and limit the president's power, which was considered too dominant.
Through the amendments to the 1945 Constitution, Indonesia began building a more democratic and balanced presidential system. Before the amendments, the president was elected by the MPR. However, after the amendments, the president has been directly elected by the people. The presidential term was also limited to 2 terms to prevent the concentration of power in one person. Before the amendments, the president was elected by the MPR. However, after the amendments, the president has been directly elected by the people. The presidential term was also limited to 2 terms to prevent the concentration of power in one person. The relationship between the president and the DPR also changed. The DPR now has stronger legislative, supervisory, and budgeting powers to oversee the government. Indonesia also established a new institution, the Constitutional Court, or known as MK, which is responsible for protecting the constitution and ensuring that the principle of checks and balances functions properly. The ideas of Sri Soemantri help explain these changes. According to him, a constitution is not only the legal foundation of the state, but also a tool to limit governmental power and maintain democratic balance. Therefore, the amendments to the 1945 Constitution did not only change the rules of the state, they also changed the way Indonesia understands democracy and power.
A foundational question in constitutional law is whether a constitution is a rigid document set in stone or a living instrument that must evolve. Prof. Sri Soemantri firmly argued with absolute conviction that it must possess the vital flexibility to adapt to shifting social growth, political developments, and the democratic realities of the growing nation.
In his landmark 1978 thesis, Prof. Sri Soemantri posed a profound and enduring question: can the generation living today bind the generation to come? His answer was a definitive no. The present generation cannot change the future, therefore, a constitution's provision must be dynamically modifiable to maintain its absolute relevance to the society it governs. For Sri Soemantri, this evolutionary dynamic is the single most critical factor in preserving national stability while ensuring modern relevance. He maintained that a rigorous amendment system must fulfill a dual purpose. It must guarantee the continuity of the state while simultaneously enabling peaceful, lawful constitutional evolution. He emphasized that amending a constitution is fundamentally a profound legal action operating within intense political realities, demanding strict, orderly mechanism to prevent arbitrary manipulation by ruling factions.
The growing nation.
This exact philosophy cements Prof. Sri Soemantri in indelible intellectual legacy with Indonesian constitutional law. As a foundational pillar at Universitas Pajajaran, he pioneered academic frameworks that wholly fuse political science with constitutional mechanics. His life work as a fierce guardian of constitutional integrity earned him a highest acclaim, culminating in a prestigious lifetime achievement, Muhammad Yamin Award in 2004.
His theories remain absolutely vital to decoding Indonesia's contemporary government system. Sri Soemantri critically identified that before the reform era, Indonesia operated under a semi-presidential hybrid because the president was subservient to the MPR. His insight directly illuminate how post-reform amendments successfully forged a true presidential system built upon the bedrock of direct popular presidential elections, strict term limits, and a robust system of checks and balances.